Have you ever forgotten your phone? When did you realize you'd forgotten it? It probably didn't just hit you out of nowhere. You didn't suddenly stop and think, damn. No, you reached for it, opened your pocket, your bag, and felt that brief confusion when it wasn't there. Then your brain started retracing your steps, and that's when it hit you. In my case, my phone's alarm woke me up like normal, but I noticed the battery was lower than expected. It was a new phone, and it had this annoying habit of leaving apps running overnight, draining the battery. So instead of putting it in my bag like I always do, I left it on the counter to charge while I showered. Just a small break in routine, but that was enough. The moment I stepped into the shower, my brain slipped straight back into autopilot, and the exception disappeared. This isn't just clumsiness. It's how the brain works. You don't consciously think about everything you do. When you walk, you don't think about moving your legs. When you breathe, you don't think about each inhale. Routine gets handed off to a different part of your brain, so the rest can focus on other things. That's why commutes blur together, why you barely remember the drive you take every day. Your brain stops actively processing it. It just runs the pattern. People call it autopilot. But that's where the danger is. If something breaks your routine, your ability to notice it depends entirely on whether you're paying attention in that moment. I wasn't. My brain followed the usual script, and in that script, my phone was already in my bag. So I showered, shaved, listened to the radio, fed my daughter Emily, got her into the car, and left. Everything felt normal, because to my brain it was. The sun was already brutal that morning. The steering wheel burned against my hands as I got in. Emily shifted in the back seat, trying to escape the glare, complaining about the bad sun in her eyes. Then the drive blurred like it always does. I got to work, submitted my report, sat through meetings. It wasn't until I reached for my phone during a break that everything cracked. I retraced my steps. The low battery, the counter, the charger. My phone was at home. And just like that, autopilot disengaged. But here's the problem. Until that moment happens, your brain doesn't question anything. It assumes the routine was completed. There's no reason to doubt it, no reason to check, no reason to suddenly remember something is wrong. As far as your mind is concerned, everything is exactly where it should be. The day dragged on under unbearable heat. Roads shimmered. Air felt heavy. People hid indoors, clinging to air conditioning. By the time evening came, the temperature finally dropped. I drove home, exhausted, still annoyed about my phone. The car smelled strange, like something had been cooking in the heat all day. When I pulled in the driveway, my wife opened the door and asked, "Where's Emily?" That's when it hit me. I thought I'd just forgotten to pick her up. I rushed back to the nursery, already preparing excuses, hoping I could avoid the late fee. But when I got there, a sign was taped to the door. Due to vandalism overnight, please use side door. Overnight? I froze. The routine had changed. My phone was on the counter. I hadn't been here this morning. My phone was on the counter. I drove past. My phone was on the counter. She moved her seat. I didn't see her. My phone was on the counter. She fell asleep in the heat. She never said a word. My phone was on the counter. She changed the routine, and I didn't notice. 9 hours, locked inside that car, in that heat. No air, no water, no help. The steering wheel too hot to touch. That smell. I walked back to the car, numb, shaking. I opened the door. My phone was on the counter, and my daughter was dead.